Hey there guys, it's Zologe here with a deck profile for the Raccoon Synchro yet again. Yes, I'm doing an updated version of this deck since it has reached so many views on YouTube, and now that Valerie Fawn has become a thing in the TCG, I decided like, hey, why not update it a little bit, because you guys gave me some great suggestions on cards I should run. Which is of course the Wind-Up Kitten among other things. So I'm gonna give you guys this little updated deck profile. I hope you enjoy. So first we run the triple Fabled Cherburl. This guy is mainly there for rank 2 plays, as well as going into the Fabled Unicorn, which is a really great card. Whenever he's discarded to the graveyard, you can special summon it. It doesn't matter how it's discarded to the graveyard. As long as it's discarded, it can even be by cost. You special summon him, and it doesn't miss timing, so that's really great. Next we go for the Wind-Up Kitten. We go doubles of it. Now this is one of the cards which you guys actually suggested to me. I didn't know that this card existed until like just recently. So I checked it out and I was like, wait, holy crap, this card's actually good. So I decided to put it in here. I put 2 copies of it and 1 copy of Raikou. Just so I have at least a little bit more versatility. Now this is mainly here just to deal with things that can't be destroyed by card effects. Such as Beals and things like that, as well as taking care of extra deck monsters a lot easier, which is kind of nice to have. Also, bouncing back stuff is really powerful in the game in general, so it's an easy way just to get rid of troublesome monsters without paying anything at all. And it's just a lot faster than Raikou too, so yeah. Next we go for the triple Pumpoko. This card is also really, really good because it allows us just to get to our Tantans directly from the deck, as well as setting Raikous should we really need it. And the card is actually really good. You also use him for rank 2 Xyz monsters, as well as the level 5s, level 5 synchros and things like that. So yeah. Next we go for the Valerie Fawn, the triples of Bambi over here. And now this card is fantastic because it just allows you to go into any synchro that you want, or you can just go into a Sandayu if you feel like it. And it actually helps out quite a lot in this deck, believe it or not. And it's just a fantastic card to have. I love it. It's just really, really good. Also, it's a tuner, so yeah, I can't say enough good about this. It also allows you to recycle things like your Tantans as well as your Raikous, should you need the flip effects again, which is really cool. Next we go for the triple Calantosa. This is when it's special summoned by the effect of a beast type monster, you can destroy a card on the field, which is really awesome, since you can just flip this guy face up and summon a Calantosa, pop a card in the field. Or heck, even just go, okay, Calantosa, special summon this, pop a card in the field, then immediately go into a Sandayu, which is really awesome. Next we run the one Raikou. This is to mill cards from the top of our deck, as well as popping a card on the field. Now, when you, if you remember, this deck really likes having a lot of beasts in the grave, as you'll see later. If you remember it, then great, good for you. Next we go for the triple Tantan. When this guy's flip summon, when this guy's flipped at all, you get to special summon 1 level 2 beast type monster from your deck. That's your main target is the Calantosa. Or if your opponent has something, only has 1 monster in the field, and you know that they're not going to be able to pop the monster that you summon, you might as well go for the Valerie Fawn and prepare for plays later down the road. Next we go for one of the newer cards I actually put in here, which is the Uniflora. Yes, I replaced Key Mouse with Uniflora because, you know, Valerie Fawn is a tuner anyway, so we can go into Naturia Beast this way. And besides, it allows us to bring back shit from the grave, and it's also a good card together with another card I have in Siding. Next we go for the double Ayers Rock Sunrise. This is basically a spell card version of our Uniflora, but it also allows us to, you know, it doesn't take away its attack, and it also lowers all the attack of all monsters your opponent controls by 200 for each beast type monster in your graveyard, which is really awesome. And since the monsters here are really squishy to begin with, they're gonna have a bad time if they deal with this thing. Next we go for the triple Obedient School. This card is absolutely stupid, and I love it for what it does. It allows you to go into a first turn Naturia Beast. Heck, if you have the right setup, you can go for 2 Naturia Beasts in 1 turn, which is absolutely ridiculous. I mean, you can just go, okay, as long as you have Foolish Burial and a Calantosa on your hand, as well as a Obedience Schooled, you can pull this off, which is actually pretty great. All you need to do is have, of course, the Uniflora in your graveyard. You need some other things as well, but you can pull off a double Naturia Beast as long as you have the right cards on field. Next, of course, we run the double Mystical Space Typhoon for generic back row removal. Nothing too fancy there. Next, we run the double Closed Forest. Now, this card is what makes the deck really nice, and it gives it the OTK potential that it has. Since it increases the attack bonus of all your beast type monsters by 100 for each monster in your graveyard. Now, this might not seem like much at first, but once you start racking up those monsters, your other monsters are going to be really, really beefy, especially when this guy comes into play. So yeah, I mean, you just have like 7 beasts in your graveyard, and you have like a 700 attack point buff, which is huge, really, when you have something like this on board, because then you have a 2900 beats deck. And then you just pump up one of these, and you have something that has like plus 4000 attack almost. Which is really awesome. Next, we run the triple Horn of the Phantom Beast. Now, Horn of the Phantom Beast is just to get extra attack, as well as getting a draw power should we need it at the time, as well as it's just a nice little surprise card to have in case your opponent should try to run over you and go, okay, Horn of the Phantom Beast, screw you. And then, of course, we run the one Balamas Trapple, which is just to stop opponents' plays dead in their tracks. Then we have the 2 Burst Rebirth to recycle our Tantans and our Raikou should we need it at the time. It's actually a pretty great card. It's a card that just slipped under the radar for quite some time, and now it's actually going to be seeing play if this deck ever takes off again. Next we run 1 Breakthrough Skill to negate monster effects, and finally the 1 Solemn Warning. As for the extra deck, we run Triple Leo. This card is just a big beat stick that is like just really big, especially with this thing, and it can't be targeted by card effects until your main phase 2, which is really troublesome for certain decks. Next we go for the Lightning Tricorn. This is just a way to get a big beat stick on board that can actually special summon back a Thunder Unicorn or Voltic Bicorn in my graveyard. Which, by the way, I run those too. I run the Voltic Bicorn. We can get it out if we play something like Obedience Schooled and have the right cards on board. Well, have the right cards on hand, should I say. And finally, we run the Naturia Barkion. Barkion is actually really good because you can just negate traps and things like that. And you're not going to be going into him too much, though, because, you know, things. He's at level 6, sure, you can go into him relatively easily with things like Calantosa, with things like Valorifon, but yes. Next we run the 1 Thunder Unicorn. This is just a nice little card to have in case you should have like a Raikou already on board, and you can just summon this thing and you can go into it should you really need it, because you can't really go into Naturia Beast with Raikou, now can you? Next we run the MVP of the deck, which is Naturia Beast. This was my inspiration for making the deck in the first place, actually, because I love this card, since you can negate spell cards and things like that, which is really cool. And if you get this thing off against the Cleaforts first turn, they really can't do anything until they get their skill drain on board, because you just negate their pendulums, and you just like it because it's costless, basically. You just mill 2, and it's virtually no cost at all for this deck because you run Closed Forest, which buffs him up. Next we run the double Fabled Unicorn. This is a pseudo Quasar Dragon, basically, since it negates anything at all in this entire game besides summons, and since most of the game has effects that activate upon summoning anyway nowadays, this card is just, oh, if you have the same amount of cards as your opponent has in their hand. So you just negate a lot of dangerous stuff. Next we run the triple Van Sandayu. This guy is the main source of your OTKs, since he just summons a big beefy token that gets buffed by the Closed Forest, and if you have 2 guys, you have 2 Sandayus on board, you pretty much have game right there. Because it's a really difficult situation to deal with for many decks. Maybe Burning Abyss can deal with it, but we can side against them. So this deck also has a really strong game 1, because your opponent's not going to see it coming, and your opponent is probably not going to run anything inciting against this deck. because it's just so out of the meta that you're not going to be siding for it. As for the siding, since the deck now has Valerie Fawn in the TCG, we can finally run this deck competitively. So I am scrambled up a little side deck for you guys. Should you want to run this at your locals or regionals or YCSs or whatever. Locals is probably where this deck shines the most, but yeah. We run the triple Mosaic Manticore. Now this is actually a really unique pick as for what he does. Now you want to summon this guy mainly with your AS Rock Sunrise or your Uniflora, just to bring this guy out together with your Closed Forest, which makes this guy bigger than, you know, the friggin' tower, should you really need to get over it. Now, I know most Cleafort decks only run one tower, hence why we run triple Mosaic Manticore for it. And you can also tribute summon it by using the Obedience Schooled. So yeah, you can use it for that as well, and the cards themselves are gonna be special summoned back during your next standby phase, which is really awesome, which means they can use them for synchros and things like that later on again. Also, you can make a Leo with this guy if you just play this, special summon one friggin' Calantosa, special summon two other monsters, then you just normal summon this guy by tributing the other two, and then just go into a Leo. But yeah, next we run the one Cyber Dragon as well as the Chimeratech Fortress Dragon. This is also for the Cleafort matchup, should you really need it. If the Mosaic Manticore is not for you, this is another way to deal with a killer. It's more consistent, but this is just a more fun way to do it. And it fits the theme of the deck a little more. Next we run two Shared Ride. Now, since there is a lot of decks that right now that searches from the deck, I mean, you have Burning Abyss, you have friggin' Shaddolls, and now Cleaforts. Yeah, you can play this with relative success because all of them need their searches, especially Cleaforts because they have Scout. And Scout is just awesome because it searches out everything. And you can just activate this and go, bam, okay, whenever you search, I'm going to get to draw a card. So, yeah. Next we go for one Full House. This is also against the Cleaforts because they have two face-up friggin', you know, pendulum cards, as well as maybe they run three back row and you can just go, okay, Full House, blow up everything. And they're gonna have a really bad time. Next we run two Chain Disappearance. This is for the Burning Abyss matchup. Just activating this on their friggin', I can't remember its name now, the friggin', the tour guide. You just banish it and the deck falls apart after that. Next we run the one Royal Decree. Now this is also against the Burning Abyss because they run so many different traps. If you activate this first turn, now if you activate this during their end phase when they set all the back row, they're gonna start crying because you just locked out half of their deck basically, which is really awesome. Next we run two Light Impersonating Mirrors for the Stellar Knight matchup because Stellar Knights are actually pretty good, and having this thing negating every monster effect that they activate is really nice. Sure, it makes Raikou dead, but you can just replace Raikou with one of these and you should be fine. Next we run two Shadow Impersonating Mirrors for the Shadow as well as the Burning Abyss matchups, and that basically runs down the entire deck including siding. So tell me what you guys think about this, and I'm out.